everyone. Today's video discussion is going to relate to the marginal tax rate and the effective tax rate. Typically, the average taxpayer has no clue as to what their marginal tax rate is and what their effective tax rate is. And for the most part, people tend not to worry about this or think about this matter until it comes to tax filing time, which of course comes around every year. So in this video, I am going to briefly explain the difference between the marginal tax rate and the effective tax rate. Now, the marginal tax rate is the tax rate that applies to the top dollar of your income. Now, what do I mean by that? Let me give you an example from the marginal tax rates for tax year 2012. For an individual whose taxable income does not exceed $8,925, that individual will be taxed 10% marginal tax rate, and that's for a single filer. Now, I'm not going to provide the numbers for married filing jointly or head of household. I'm just giving you an example here of what I mean by what the marginal tax rate is. So again, for an individual whose taxable income does not exceed $8,925 and they are a single filer, their marginal tax rate would be 10%. Now let's go up to the following marginal tax rate, which is 15%. Now for individuals who are single filers whose income ranges between $8,925 and $36,250, their marginal tax rate is 15%. Now, again, as I stated, the marginal tax rate is the tax rate that applies to the top dollar of your income. So now let's talk about what the effective tax rate is. The effective tax rate is actually your tax liabilities divided by your total income for any given year. Now, your effective tax rate may change year to year depending upon your financial situation in regards to taxable income. Marginal tax rates change as well depending upon what they want to do with the tax code or whatever else is going on in Washington. So every year, these tax rates are not going to be the same. The information that I'm providing to you in this video relates to tax year 2012. I mean, the tax rates could be the same for next year or the next couple of years, but then again, they can change. So you would want to check to make sure of what your marginal tax rate will be for tax year 2013 and beyond. So, to recap, the marginal tax rate is the tax rate that applies to the top dollar of your income. And the effective tax rate is your total liabilities divided by your total income in any given year. Now, I'm going to give you the marginal tax rates for tax year 2012. But before I do that, I want to mention with our candidates that ran for president. The Republican candidate, his effective tax rate was 13.9%. And our Democratic candidate, his effective tax rate was 20%. I guess many of you are probably asking, how is that possible when our Republican candidate has so much more income than our Democratic candidate does? The reason for this is because our Republican candidate apparently has a lot more investment income. And investment income is taxed differently than ordinary income. That particular matter relates to capital gains. And that's a different subject matter altogether. I may decide to record a video regarding capital gains. But in this particular video, we're just going to stick with the marginal tax rates and the effective tax rate. So now I'm going to provide you with the tax rates, the marginal tax rates for tax year 2012. These tax rates, which there are 7 of them for tax year 2012, are based on or broken into 3 different categories. You have the single filers, the married filing jointly filers, and you have the head of household filers. The income amounts are different for each of these filers. So depending upon what your filing status is, that will also depend upon what your tax bracket is. So basically, your marginal tax rate is based on your taxable income and your filing status. Okay, so now let me tell you what these marginal tax rates for 2012 is. There's the 10% marginal tax rate, 15%, 25%, 28%, 33%, 35%, and 39.6% for those with income of $400,000 and above. Now, the 39.6% marginal tax rate is one of the new things that occurred due to the fiscal cliff. So that tax rate, the 39.6% tax rate, was not applicable for tax year 2011. However, it is applicable for tax year 2012 and could be applicable in future years as well. So to recap the marginal tax rates, there's 10%, 15%, 25%, 28%, 33%, 35%, and 39.6%. For more information regarding these tax rates and what the income amounts are, you can refer to the IRS's website, which is www.irs.gov. You can also refer to the various links that are on the website or on the internet. Just type in marginal tax rates for tax year 2012 and you should be presented with a variety of links showing this information. Now, before I conclude this video, I do want to mention that I have a website that you might find beneficial relating to other tax matters or other tax questions that you may have. And that website address is www.audiotaxhelp.com. That's www.audiotaxhelp.com. I am also a tax expert on a highly reputable Q&A site. To browse answers to questions that I have answered for many, many taxpayers, you can Google, Bing, or AOL tax.appeal.168. That's tax.appeal.168. As always, with the other videos that I've recorded and with videos that I shall record in the future, my goal is to help you make your life a little less taxing. Thank you for listening.